Yeah, I think that I'd put them in the same category, and that's kind of obviously very promising players, exciting, extremely talented. But I think that, I remember years ago, wasn't it, that Theo Walcott was taken to a World Cup as a youngster, and it just doesn't sit well. I think that to go to a World Cup whereby you're away from home for potentially 4, 5, 6 weeks, especially with the extended format, you've not been with the seniors before. We've only got a couple of friendlies to play before the actual World Cup. I think that puts a lot of pressure on them, and I think that if you'd played a few 21s games and then you'd had, some of last autumn's internationals, and then the international break's just gone, and they'd have been around the camp, I think that, then you think to yourself, well, that they've been around. But for me, it would be a no for either of them, because to parachute 2 youngsters into a senior group, other than if they were invited to go as kind of, they're the future of English football, they're not in the squad, but they're here to take part in training and stuff, which I know Glenn Hoddle did when I was in an England squad, when we qualified for the 98 World Cup. We drew 0-0 with Italy in Rome, and Frank Lampard and Rio Ferdinand were the 2 youngsters that just came along for the ride. They weren't technically in the squad. They were there to train. They were there to observe. But that was one camp for 3-4 days. I think for 5 or 6 weeks, it'd be a little bit too much. But hey, if we start next season and they're both involved in their respective squads, which you'd imagine they would be, then there's Nations League, which is an absolute perfect start. So no for the World Cup, but if they start the season well next season, or if they go out on loan and they're doing well, then I think that the Nations League would be a better landing platform for them than the hurly-burly of a World Cup.
Where do you see Rio's long-term position?
Well, I mean, he comes off that left-hand side and drifts in and shoots, and you see he's very comfortable in doing that. I think that, to be honest, I think it's a wide forward rather than straight down the middle. And he can play down the left or down the right. We've obviously got a situation whereby, Mo Salah's going to leave, and Mo Salah comes off the right, like Bukayo Saka comes off the right. Is that might be something that he can do. But I think that as a sort of left-sided forward, where he can pick the ball up, he can drift past people, he's got loads of really good pace to be able to do a trick and just have a burst, and then cuts inside and shoots, which most wide forwards do now. I think that suits him absolutely down to the ground. And you see that's where he's most comfortable, when he picks the ball up left-hand side of the 18-yard box. That's where he is able to say, right, okay, I want to bend it round the defender, like the goal at the weekend. And so for me, a left side of a 3, or they might decide to try him right side of a 3, where he goes past a full back and puts a cross into a box. So he's flexible. As a youngster, he's got loads of time to learn and to be taught different things. So I'm sure that come pre-season, which will come in the blink of an eye, is that Arne Slot, he's still at the football club, of course, a lot to discuss there, is that they'll give him games, probably both sides, and see which side he fits best.